In this class, we will present an introduction to the fifth class in Perek Hamafkid, which is a Maseches Bava Metzia on Daf Lamed Daled Amud Aleph. So the introduction consists of two things. Number one, a kinyan. We already spoke about this in a previous class. We'll just review briefly. In order to transfer ownership over an item, there needs to be a kinyan, which is something tangible that can establish ownership. If a person gives his word to give something, his word doesn't make a kinyan. Words are just words. They don't have the power to transfer ownership over an item. In order for a person to receive ownership over an item, there has to be some kinyan done. Either there could be a kinyan of Mashiach, the person pulls the item. It could be Agbah, that he lifts the item. You could have a kinyan chalipin, that the one giving over ownership lifts up an object that belongs to the receiver and says, by me lifting up this object, you now get ownership over my object. And like we'll see in a moment, there's also a kinyan chatzar, but there has to be some physical reality that determines ownership. If somebody gives his word that I'll give it to you, or it is yours, it doesn't change the reality that it's not his and that he doesn't have to give it over to him. So the point basically is there has to be an action. Words alone don't accomplish anything. And like the example we gave previously, if a person says about a blue wall that it's green, it doesn't become green. If he paints it green, it becomes green. So too with a kinyan, if a person says something belongs to another, it doesn't belong to the other person just because he said it. If he gives it to the other person and there's a proper kinyan done over it, then it becomes the other person's. And then for this class specifically, we're going to focus on one kinyan, which is a kinyan chatzar. And that is, if an item is in a person's property, his fellow may give him ownership over it, since a chatzar is kind for its owner. That means, in other words, if something is in my property, in my possession, but it belongs to somebody else, and he tells me, I'm willing to give it to you, I'm giving you ownership, the tangible reality that establishes ownership is that it's in my property, and chatzar shel adam kainale, the chatzar of a person, the yard of a person, and for that matter, any area that belongs to the person, acquires for him ownership over an item, just like the other forms of a kinyan. So if the person says, I want to give it over to you, and the kinyan we're going to use is a kinyan chatzar, that will be effective in giving over ownership. And that's what we need for an introduction to the fifth class.